Thank you so much. Well, hi, my name is Talbot, also known as Han Meets World. And just to give you a little bit of an introduction about me, I've been on off remote working and living since 2014 when I was studying in Brazil. I turned to my friend at the time, I was writing a blog and said, I'm going to create a career out of social media. Then fast forward 8 years, here I am with the remote creative project management business, and also I'm the host of the Remote Life podcast, which aims to share incredible stories of other remote lifers so that others can also have this amazing lifestyle. I'm also going to make a quick disclaimer that I make to my podcast guests. If I at any point am typing, it's solely because I have a bit of a fish brain and I'm just making a follow-up note, not checking Instagram, I promise. I was actually in Croatia earlier this year. I went to Zagreb, Split, and Dubrovnik, and coming back home, it felt like coming back home, quite frankly. This country is just so incredible. It's funny, when I was outside, it felt like kind of whisperings of just how amazing Croatia is, and it really should have been shouts. So being able to host this panel today is just honestly such a privilege, and I can't wait to get started on talking about why all eyes are on Croatia. So to kick off, I'm going to allow my panelists here in Dubrovnik to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sara Dyson of Expat in Croatia. I've lived in Split for 10 years. Expat in Croatia started off as a blog and then migrated into a business about 4 years ago when the police made me. We help people live in Croatia with ease. We specialize in bureaucracy, but also educate people on culture and daily life. We offer consulting, local assistance on the ground, and we also connect people with vetted Croatian professionals around the country.
Thank you. Hi to all. I'm Jelka, the deputy mayor, one of the persons who actually started to work with Tanya and Paul developing the digital nomad friendly destination project.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hrnic. I'm director of the Dubrovnik Tourist Board. I came on this position just together with the COVID, unfortunately, just 1 month before. So this was, I can say, one of my first projects. So I'm very happy and I'm very thankful to Paul and Tanya to put us into this story and open our eyes, so to say. So I'm happy that we are continuing with this and hope we will make significant success from year to year. Thank you.
Hey, am I hearable?
And Steve as well?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. I'm Steve Tsentserensky. I'm from the US. I was the beneficiary of this digital nomad permit, among the first to get the permit. I'm in Florida at the moment. It's like 4:30 in the morning, which is great. And yeah, just enjoyed living in Croatia for 15 months in total, and excited to be able to continue contributing and sharing how great of a place it is, because I'm in love with it, basically.
Amazing, thank you, and welcome everybody. So to kick off, I actually have a question for Jelka and Anna. So obviously we took this incredible history tour yesterday of the Dubrovnik walls, and we really got to know more about this incredible city. So for other destinations and companies here, or maybe listening in, why the focus on digital nomads?
Why focus on digital nomads?
Yeah.
Well, since a few years ago, maybe starting around 2014 or 15, Dubrovnik had a very huge increase on tourist arrivals, and we got on the list of the destination to avoid. So when our local government started, it was June 2017. And it turned out that we are listed as one of the cities to avoid in the years to come, which was not really nice start for local government. But then we realized that we should do something, and start to deal with our problems, which were not only about the number of visitors, but also the level of satisfaction of our residents. And that's the year when we actually created a project. It's an umbrella program. It's called Respect the City. And within that program, we perform, or we were started with some very simple activities and plans. Then we had a group of midterm projects and long-term projects, meaning that we were aware, and we are still aware, that small things can make a difference, but we need to develop kind of projects. We will, at the end of the day, will show the difference. So that's our main path, because we would like to be as sustainable as possible. We also have a memorandum of understanding with the major cruise association, which is called CLIA, to whom we addressed, asking them, actually, Mayor personally asked the president of CLIA to help us make a better organization of cruise calls. And so far we are doing good. We are cooperating very well with them. And also a part of that memorandum was the GSTC assessment, which is Global Sustainable Tourism Council. It's an assessment of sustainability of destination, which was performed in late 2019. We got our results during COVID times in May of 2020, and it's shown that Dubrovnik achieved 70% of excellence, which is quite good, and we are very happy and proud about it. And that's actually, well, it was the sign that we are doing the right thing. Of course, during the COVID, as tourism is major and most important economy in Dubrovnik, everybody is living out of tourism directly, non-directly, but in different ways. But definitely, it's very important. And Dubrovnik budget, the city budget, suffered a lot. We lost several 100,000 millions of kunas in 2 years. And when we face the situation that we have no people visiting, that people, other part of our residents cannot work, not work, they have to stay home. And when the era of lockdown was getting was like starting to go away, let's say that word, then we realized that we should do something else, or develop some different projects, make a diversification of our tourism product, develop some other industries, if possible, because it's not very easy in such a small city to develop industries. Big industry and tourism doesn't go well together, but we were focused, and still are on developing culture creative industries, on developing IT industries. There are several very well-known companies around Dubrovnik, so we are focused in the future to develop that type of business, small entrepreneurship, startups, etc. But in regards of tourism, we decided that it's really interesting, the project of digital nomads. So when Paul and Tanya approached, we agreed that we will go towards that we will try to make Dubrovnik as digital friendly as possible, which is not easy, because the image we had as a maybe high-level destination, a little bit more expensive than other destinations in Croatia. But I believe that everybody who is here knows why is that. We are UNESCO Heritage Site since 1979. We have really high-quality tourism offer on all levels, and we believe that we deserve all the nice words people are telling about us, and I'm very grateful to all of you that you are feeling so nice in our city. So that's in short.
Okay. Well, Jelka already said most of the things. So the main reason was that this kind of tourism is fitting perfectly into our sustainability path. So this was one of the main reasons. Also, I can say that the COVID situation was like a trigger at the moment, because in the lack of everything else, in the lack of tourism and tourists, all normal things that we were used on, we were seeking for something to focus on, something new, what can fit into those kind of circumstances that we had in that time. Also, what is one of our main goals long term, of course, is to have the season 365, so during the whole year, and we see this also as a great opportunity to achieve that, because I believe all of you would rather pick to stay in Dubrovnik in those months, not during the high season when the prices are higher and when it's quite busy and so on. So we see this as a good opportunity, and we see this also as a good opportunity to spread the horizons of not only from us who are included directly into this project, but also from the entire community, to put this story closer to them, to explain what this means for them, for us, for the entire community. So I believe we are, when we compare this, what we have now and what we had 2 years ago, I believe we are on a good way, and I believe that many people now really have better idea, better understanding of what are your needs, what are their opportunities in this context. So I believe we are on a good track, we're on a good path.
Nice. Okay, well, so for the rest of the panel, anyone feel free to dive in with this question. What are some of the biggest draws for digital nomads and remote workers to come to Dubrovnik? So maybe Sara can go for Split. Steve, feel free to hop in.
I think that I think unfortunately people still think that Croatia is a cheap destination. It isn't, and that's something I think that has to be looked at in some kind of way, because with bringing so many digital nomads in the last couple of years, there has had an impact, unfortunately, on the costs of things. So people have been, I'm speaking from Split's perspective, people have come in and they're a little bit surprised that things are a bit expensive, or more expensive than they were expecting, but it's still lower than necessarily what they're used to. And I think so that difference is cost is definitely part of it. But speaking from Split, like, I don't think that should be a deterrent. Split's amazing. It's, even though I've been there 10 years now, I'll still walk around, the palace in town and to do my errands. And I still have this moment in my head where, like, I cannot believe I'm walking through a 1700-year-old palace to do my errands. Like, it makes me think of strip malls in Texas doing the exact same thing. And it's just a night and day difference. It's really kind of an out-of-body experience to be able to experience a place like this, like really immerse yourself. I think a lot of times when tourists come to Croatia, they have a checklist of the things that they have to do. Okay, I have to go to Plitvice. I have to go to Dubrovnik. I have to go to Split. I have to do these things, rather than just kind of sitting there and just looking around and fully absorbing where they are. I get made fun of a lot because my favorite time in Split is winter, because it's empty. Because during the summer, I don't live in the city center of town, I live outside of it. When you come into the city center in Split during summer, it is jammed. You cannot get by anywhere. And so you're just moving so fast through the palace, dodging big tour groups and trying to get around people, that you don't really have an opportunity to fully experience where you are. And in winter, you can do that. The locals come back to the city, and you can just slowly walk through the palace. You can be on peristyle and be the only person there and really grasp where you are, rather than trying to dodge people and not get hit by selfie sticks. So I think that even though there is this kind of tide of maybe discussion about whether or not Croatia can handle, especially Split, how much tourism is coming, how many digital nomads are coming, and whether or not we actually have the infrastructure to support that number of people. Because of digital nomads are coming and they're staying throughout the year, they have an opportunity to see it in winter and not just during summer, which is when the bulk of people come. So there is an opportunity to kind of fully immerse yourself if you choose to do that. And I really encourage people to be in Croatia during winter because it is a really nice time. Yes, it's quieter. Yes, there are not as many restaurants available, not as many things to do, but that's when I think you can really get an opportunity to see the country on its best.
I was in Croatia earlier this year when it was a bit lower season, and I can concur, it definitely felt like it had much more of a local sort of feel, I guess. So it is, yeah, a bit of a different vibe coming back again now. But what about, anyone else want to hop in?
Yeah, I can hop in on some of that. To the point about the like the locals being sort of present in Split, for example, specifically, I moved there in May, and it did have a local vibe still in May, which is great, and I was excited about it. And then like the summer season started, and like cruise ships started to creep in, and locals disappeared at that point, essentially, for probably, I don't know, the next 3 months until September, and people started to creep back into town. And the vibe shifts dramatically when you're in a place that's overrun sort of by tourists and a place that has a more immersive, as you mentioned, sort of vibe to it, that you can actually feel when it's a little bit more empty. And same with Dubrovnik, actually. The first time I came to Dubrovnik was in 2014 on a cruise ship, actually. And when I was there this past autumn, actually, totally different. You get a different experience. You could breathe in a way that you couldn't when it's packed with people. And it's nice to see that shift in what was a pretty short span. As for like what makes it the country good for digital nomads, it's super easy in every way that matters. It's easy to get around, easy to stay connected and work from anywhere. Zagreb is a pretty easy place to live. You can walk everywhere. Public transportation is great. Have access to mountains if you want. Just a country over. It's a country for all seasons, really. So there's no need to just confine a trip or a working holiday or multiple month holiday into one section of the calendar. And the winter is a good time. The first time I came to Zagreb was in January, and no one goes to Zagreb in January, but it was great. It was calm. It was just after Advent, so there was still some of that residual spirit in the air, but it was just a good place to be in a time that no one would expect it to be. And that's sort of the story of Croatia. No one expects it to be as good all year round. They just think coast, summer, boom, done. But for digital nomads, it's great for the whole rest of the year.
Nice. And then Jelka, would you want to?
All of us prefer Dubrovnik in the winter times. So we enjoyed quite a lot during the lockdown for maybe 2 months. Everybody was really happy, putting on Facebook and Instagram how beautiful, how calm, how this and how that. After that started, oh, we miss people, we miss tourists. What are you doing to get tourists back, etc., etc. So it's, well, it's logical because we live out tourism, as I said, but really to discover our Mediterranean cities in the winter time is a really special experience. Sara explained that in a very nice way, and that's actually how we are feeling walking around on empty streets, and then you can again and again see and feel different moments of your life within that history and the heritage we are surrounded with. And that's maybe what we can offer. And Steve said locals disappeared during summer months. Well, it's logical, everybody's working and they don't have enough time to go for a coffee or to eat outside, or they are really busy. We are really busy during the period from May, Dubrovnik, even till beginning of November. But when winter comes, then you can see that everybody is trying to enjoy as much as possible. So we have some nice winter events, and you can come and then really connect with locals on a different level, in different way than during the peak of seasons.
Can I add something?
Of course.
Okay. So I mentioned that during winter, a lot of foreigners don't like it because they think there's nothing to do, but that's really just predominantly because restaurants aren't really open. But there's tons to do during winter. There are a lot of events that really are just locals know about them, but they don't really get as much play as they should. For example, most of the towns have a patron saint celebration. Yes. Dubrovnik has one in February. Yes, Splits is tomorrow, which is why I'm going home today, because I'm very excited about it. It's my favorite day of the year. But there are lots of these little celebrations and festivals all over the year. And one of my favorite things to do that I do every November is I go to Istra, up in the northwestern part of the country, because that's when the leaves change. Like right around Halloween, first couple days of November. And it's extraordinary. And it's also the Truffle Festival as well. So anyone who comes in summer, they miss that. And it's really special. So there are experiences that you can have during winter here in Croatia that will blow your mind. That's all I have to say.
No, that was wonderful. So just from, sorry, did you want to add anything at all?
I agree with everyone, definitely. Dubrovnik and the Croatia in general, I believe, have that special charm during the winter period. My favorite period is like late autumn, and then later on continuing on the Christmas time, when we have our Dubrovnik Winter Festival, which is also great event for the locals, but also for our visitors. What we also do, and it's very fun and a great experience, the Good Food Festival, the last weekend of October, continuing with the Saint Blaise festivity, as you mentioned. Then we have the Oysters Festival, we have the Carnival. There are really, really many things happening during the entire winter period. So maybe there is one like a sleepy time, maybe between, let's say, New Year and the Saint Blaise, like some 15-20 days, 1 month max. But this is like when we are all having rest and preparing ourselves for the new season and for the new challenges. But definitely the special time to experience Dubrovnik and everything Dubrovnik has to offer is during the winter period.
Amazing. Love that.
And
Lots
actually,
of
like off season in winter, just a quick thing, like Zagreb has stuff going on constantly. Also, basically throughout the whole quiet season on the coast, Zagreb is doing stuff. Out east, there's Head On East festival, which moved this past year, but in Osijek. So there's stuff going on everywhere. That's just I wanted to add. If you're there in winter, I wish I was there. I'm here, but I mean, there's stuff going on all the time. That's all I wanted to say.
Good climate also, so it's very nice to be here during those days, and a good opportunity to have some sports activities and so on.
And to have a coffee. Why I said to have a coffee? Because you probably don't know the meaning of to have a coffee in Croatia. That's to sit down for an hour, maybe even more, to have a drink, whatever the drink could be. But it's always, the ask is, let's have a coffee, let's meet, let's chat, let's be together. So that's something we can do all year round in Dubrovnik. So when you are here, then you can sit outside in January during the winter festival. Everybody's really, it's happening. The majority of big events is happening outside. So we are having our coffee or some boiled wine or whatever, but it's the Mediterranean way of life, and I believe that it's not like in Spain, but it's nice as well.
Yeah, having a coffee is an activity in itself. That's enough for one day.
That was like one of the things that I missed about Croatia, was coming back and going, yes, I can enjoy my coffee. I can sit here for a couple of hours and just enjoy it. Yeah.
You know what's for me personally, and I believe for all other Croatians, the worst possible thing it's coffee to go.
I mean, yeah. Love it, love that. Well, obviously we talked a lot about kind of the cultural side of things and sort of the lifestyle side of Croatia, but is there anything that remote workers and digital nomads should maybe know from either an admin side of things or like just sort of things to be aware of before they arrive, apart from the great coffee?
Yeah, I'd say so. From a bureaucratic perspective, do the research, understand what it is that you have to bring with you. I think one of the most common things that I hear is people come here that want to apply for the digital nomad permit or any of the other permits, and they don't bring a background check. And depending on what country you're from, getting a background check from Croatia can be a big pain in the butt. And once you get that background check, then you need to have it legalized, and then that can take more time. So I really encourage everyone to do their due diligence as much as they can before they come to Croatia. And also, I have to say something about cost of living too, because we have a housing shortage in Split. We already had one. It's now gotten worse. And what has making it worse as well is we have people that are coming to Split and they're not doing any research on what rent should be. So they go into the Facebook groups and they say, hey, I have a budget of 1,500 euros for one bedroom. What can I get for that? And it's like, it should be 400, but you've just announced what your budget is. And so we have this situation where things have just escalated exponentially. So it's really easy. I think it's called Numbio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but their cost of living, I find, for Croatia is fairly accurate. So make sure you type in Croatia cost of living into Google and look at it first before you come. Because it's not just about you and what your budget is. There are people living in Croatia that are making Croatian salaries that don't live with their family. And this impacts them as well. So it's important that we all want everyone who comes to live in Croatia to enjoy Croatia and love Croatia. But there are some things that we also need to have preserved. And so it's incredibly important to be conscious of the community here in Croatia and what they need as well, beyond just money.
Yes, the tourism office, of course, partnering with the city of Dubrovnik is preparing the whole package for digital nomads because our main goal is to be as much as possible digital nomad friendly city. So we will launch the new web page and the package within that maybe next week. It's almost done. It's called Long Stay Dubrovnik, and it will be addressing to digital nomads. But Anna can speak more about it. But I want to say that all the nomads trying to find the information have a digital nomad association of Croatia, which was launched in Dubrovnik on our first digital nomad conference, and I believe they have all the answers on questions a person might have when deciding to come here. So, well, it is some bureaucracy, but it's needed. And the hospitality is not an issue. Everybody is welcome, and you have to fulfill some of the obligations within your paperwork and other things. And of course, avoid to put on the price, the budget you have publicly. But it's housing problem is everywhere, because with coming back of tourism, people are more oriented on short-term rentals, but we are trying to educate them really, and throughout these 2 years with organizing different events with digital nomads, with some very active PR activities towards our residents, trying to show them the importance of our project and their project as well, because at the end of the day it's easier to have a long stay person in the private accommodation facility than to deal with sheets and different people every 3 or 4 days. It's complicated. Of course, there are several different levels of accommodation, but also what happened during COVID times, a lot of people gave up their registration and everything, and that's the core group to whom we are addressing, because they might prefer to have long-term visitors, long-term rentals than those who are continuing to have just like tourists for short stays here. yeah, maybe that's what's happening. But it's education, it's hard work, and it's a lot of PR to learn, for them to learn the benefits of digital nomads or long stays in their accommodation.
Just want to kind of add something to what Sara said. The background check is the biggest pain in the world if you don't get it before you go to Croatia. I mean, maybe that's just speaking from the US, maybe it's easier in other countries, but I didn't think it through. I just sort of came because I came like in December of 2020. So it was like, that wasn't the main thing on my mind. But when I came and just doing all the paperwork, extraordinary pain to deal with getting the background check. The US Embassy there doesn't do fingerprints, so that became an issue. It's just not, what she said is accurate. Look up everything first, get as much of that done in advance, and it's smoother sailing once you arrive. The bureaucracy side of it seems to have gotten slightly better in the last year. It seems like they've done a bit of changing to how things go through the process, but that's more anecdotal than anything. What else I wanted to comment on? The rent thing is massively true. When I rented in Split, I locked it in way before the season, and so my rate was fairly competitive with a local rate. When people I ended up meeting a month or two later came, were paying triple or quadruple what I was paying, which was somewhat astounding. The groups, yeah, that could be an issue, and that should probably be looked at for the future, and hopefully that's getting better. And as far as information people should have or seek or how to get it before coming, those Facebook groups, especially the Digital Nomad Association, super responsive. You can basically get any info you need and response to any question fairly immediately. So there's at this point, because the infrastructure is so good, there's not a huge excuse to not have what you need before you come, because Croatia and the people that are involved with bringing people are super great at being proactive with making sure it's a smooth move over. So that was it.
Nice. Anna, do you want to add?
I wanted to explain a little bit more about the website we are launching next week probably. So we realized that there is a need of creating one special dedicated website for not only for the digital nomads. We had yesterday the discussion who is a digital nomad, who is the remote worker, who is only a tourist, who is staying longer in Dubrovnik. So all of these categories have different needs in terms of information they require, comparing to the regular tourists, so to say, those who are staying here like for 3, 4, 7 days. So we are creating, I believe, a good content. There will be a special section which will be dedicated to all this paperwork and all these procedures that are required. We have one good partner who is very much into this topic, so I believe he will create and provide a good and high quality and useful material which will be then available on that website. We will also have a special section about all those events we were mentioning before during the whole year, especially with a special focus on those winter periods. And also we will have listed all the digital nomads friendly accommodation, how we call it, so all the people who are interested in giving a long-term possibilities of renting will be listed on our website. It's challenging for now, to attract people to be part of it. First of all, that they understand that they are not losing that other part of cake if they join us on this project. But slowly, I believe they are realizing that, and that they are understanding that this can be just like one additional channel, sales channel for them, and one additional opportunity for them to provide their accommodation in some other periods, not maybe in the summertime if that's not convenient for them. But as Jelka said, during the COVID there were people who realized that they are not going to do this job for anymore or until some time. So this is also a good opportunity for them if they have their own properties, if they are not into that business so much, because it's not easy if you have few properties. It's not simple to do all those short stays, 2-3 days. It's a big work. So this is much easier for them, especially if it's not core business for them. If it's just like some additional source of income, I believe they will understand how this is maybe even at the end when you count all the expenses that you had and the benefits at the end, you will probably be aware that this is at the end a good option. Also, we will have a special social media profiles where also they will be quite interactive. We will do our best to be very active there, to give all the answers, all the information you might need. So I believe this will be very helpful.
Just one more thing, that we have also 2 co-living options in Dubrovnik. One is within the dormitory within the National Archive building in the business center of our city, and the other one is Academis, who is actually the student dormitory, but with a part of the registration which allows them to work on a commercial level, let's say. So they are those 2 points of co-living are, I believe, good for the start.
Love it, love it. Okay, so just going to do some quick fire round questions. So just give me like one line or one word. So my first one is, what is one Croatian phrase that digital nomads and remote workers should know?
Oh, okay.
Steve, do you want to hop in?
I'm trying to think of one phrase. I have no idea. I don't know. I feel like I want to go at the end of this. I mean, like,
So,
Maybe let's have a coffee.
I was going to say the coffee thing. Grab a coffee.
Idemo na kavu, yeah. That's a password for to make a friendship.
Yeah, I mean, like all I did
Love
was
it.
drink coffee there. So I was trying to think of coffee-related things, pretty much.
Pardon, sorry?
I was trying to think of something coffee-related because that's what I was obsessed with when I was there, and like she nailed it. I just couldn't think of how to say it.
I love that everyone went to coffee. That makes me so happy. Sum up life in Croatia or your specific destination in one word.
Wait, say it again.
Pardon?
Say it again. Sorry.
Sum up life in Croatia in one word.
I'm going to break the rules and not do that.
I would say hedonistic. I believe that we are like hedonists, not only in Dubrovnik, but in Croatia in general.
Yeah, maybe that's a good choice.
There's a phrase I'd like to use.
Go for it.
It's my favorite Croatian phrase. It's more platit, which essentially means like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like who will pay for this?
Tko to može platit?
Yeah.
And that's very good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It basically means priceless.
Yes.
Great. Amazing. And then last one, well, actually, I've got 2 potential ones. So on the podcast, I talk about how home is where my laptop is. So I'd love you to fill in the blank. Home is where?
Is for
Garden.
me where the heart
The
is.
heart is, oh, love it. Love it.
Home is where I'm having a coffee.
For me, heart, definitely.
Oh. Steve?
Well, I was going to say home is Croatia, but that's not the phrase. So,
It's very good, actually.
So, yeah, why not?
all right. Well, there we go. Let's go
Yeah.
with that. Let's go with that.
Can I ask one more question? Yeah. And my last question is, what can we as remote workers and digital nomads do to support Croatia as well?
Go outside the city center. It's not the center of the universe. There is other stuff out there. That's where Croatians are. They're not in the city center. It's actually cheaper outside the city center. There's great food outside the city center. There are experiences to be had. In fact, in Split in particular, I mean, I'm sure that there's this in all of the major cities, but there are these beautiful neighborhoods that were built in the 60s and 70s that are just these labyrinths of tall buildings and alleys and stairs and little gardens, and they were built with the idea of making this community this kind of pedestrian area. And oh, sorry. So go see those. Yes, the big walls and palaces are gorgeous, but there's this whole other experience to be had outside of the city centers.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because we had a concept of Beyond the Walls during the DNIR program in Dubrovnik, and that's really the point, because in city center, everybody is in the city center, but tourists, so you have to go around and check where the locals are, even in the green market. It's very interesting.
Yes, well, explore, experience, and spread the word.
Look, I lost the question in that, but I will say that, to echo, there's a ton of good stuff outside of not just the city centers, but the main cities themselves. Like if in Zagreb, you go to Velika Gorica, there's a gin distillery there that's ridiculously delicious and great that you can't even find the gin that they make in some of the bars in Zagreb. So you could go there. It's a great experience, and it's not in city center of Zagreb. The entire eastern part of the country is where people should be going to visit as well. And that gives you a whole different, basically a whole country within the country. And it's unique and vast and interesting, and has some world-class wine and all the good stuff, and great people are out there doing great things. So the main idea is leave where the tourists are for like a weekend and just get into something different. And that'll make you stay longer, and that, you'll be stuck in Croatia.
Love it. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been amazing to chat to you.